I'm Eva Chamberlain. In the last Whiteboard Wednesday video, we discussed the data processing within the MRI Data Management Services department. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the validations within that workflow. Validations are everywhere in our software and with our analysts. We like to say that we maintain the 3 C's, that the data is consistent, complete, and correct. Now, when we're talking about validations, we like to say that we're a hybrid of human and computer analysis because every file that comes through our system, all the data that's loaded goes through a person and the computer inside of our applications, in our software. There's so many different things making sure the data is correct. I'm going to go through each step of the workflow process and show you the validations that are within them. Now, the first step when we receive and upload the documents, the data goes through an analyst on the data management team. It also goes through what you see here. The doc loader is our application. This application is connected directly to our email inbox. So all of the information that comes on any email that you receive is in this application. So that way we know who it comes from, what the email body says, and any related information that could be important in order to process the data. So we have the email info, and then we are also able to look up properties via certain types of information. This information never changes, so we make sure, so we ensure that the properties are correctly researched and we know which ones we're working with. Now in the next step, within Q Central, within our proprietary software, we prep the data, we make sure that it's correct, and through that process, it also goes through an analyst. Now the data and the files are also going to go through our applications. There are going to be notes on the records inside of Q Central, and then we have something called conflicts. Conflicts is our version of a red flag that allows us to look at data, look at documents again, and make sure that they're correct. It's sort of a check on how many documents are in there for any particular property, for any particular data type. So we like to make sure we pay really close attention to that. In the next step, when we're actually loading the data within the applications themselves have checks on them. So again, your data and your files go through an analyst. They go through human eyes. We have knowledge here that allows us to identify problems, allows us to identify discrepancies, and allows us to make sure that what our client is going to see in the end is correct. Now through the analysts and then on to the applications. The applications have calculation checks within them. They also have checks on tax IDs for not only the property but also for the owners in that investment. So we like to make sure those are correct, all the numbers are right, and that the data is going to be reported correctly. Now, one of the most important validations are error scores. Error scores appear right before we load data into the SQL database. They tell us, hey, there are discrepancies in this data. It's either too high, too low, it's not consistent. Remember the 3 C's. Consistent was one of our 3 C's, and the error score validation helps us maintain that. Now, after we load the data, we even have more validations. So the data all continues to go through an analyst. Our analysts are our rock here, so we like to make sure they're involved in every single step of the process. After loading, they're involved, and then we also have another application called Statement Review. Statement Review allows us to view statements that go back months, years. We can see all different properties. We can look at several different data types at once. So that's a really good review tool that we have access to make sure that our work is correct and that every step in the process leading up to loading was the correct step. Now, the last validation we have is in our sister department, Software Services. Software Services, they run reports for our clients, and I'm pretty sure you'll see a video on them soon. But if there's any sort of discrepancy, if there's a problem with the data or the reports that they're running, they're going to come over and tell us. So the analysts are very responsive to the Software Services department, and we work with them very closely. Now that's the validation process. That's it for today's Whiteboard Wednesday. Make sure to like, comment, or subscribe.